Okay, I'm back. So we're going to deploy the vCenter. So what we did so far. So we installed deploy the virtual FortiGate virtual appliance. So it is to create the environment, so create the VLAN, everything what that we need. So we here we deploy, install, configure a active Windows Active Directory for user authentication and domain name resolution, and maybe we can use it for DHCP. Maybe later we can use it. For example, if you have a virtual segment that have to provide DHCP, but we want that the DHCP server will be the Active Directory server. We can use it. So we will create. So we will configure the DHCP related. But okay. So this is something that we can do later. Later, we have many things to do. Okay. So and we have deployed three nested virtual servers, and now we are going to deploy and configure vCenter so we can manage the whole infrastructure with vCenter. So here it is my physical host, the physical host that is on my office. So what we are going to do, we're going to mount the vCenter, the ISO file. We're going to mount it on the Windows Active Directory servers. So we're going to mount it. Um, going to edit. Okay, we're going to mount the ISO that we already upload to the data store. Okay, it is yeah, it is this. And now we can go to my computer to deploy it. Okay, so it is the ISO file that we mount on the Windows Active Directory server. Here it is the server that you see here. It is my lab DC. Okay, let me show you. First name. It is the lab DC. So it is a virtual server for my environment that has two NIC. So that we will use to deploy vCenter on it. Okay, so I mount the ISO file as it is a virtual server. So I mount it on it, and yeah, we will install it. So we go to the UI. Okay, we're going to use you have a Windows version. Going to use the Windows, and we will launch the installer. Okay. Let me see which IP that I create for the vCenter. I don't remember which IP. Okay, it is 100. So that we apply because we have not deployed vCenter yet. So okay, next. Okay, so we're going to deploy it. Accept. Now it asks you, as the vCenter will be a virtual server, it is a virtual appliance. It asks you on which host we're going to, in which host you're going to deploy it. It is very important, and I will take my time to show you. In the production in the production environment, look at in the production environment. Let's go to the here in the production. Let me uh, clear this. Okay, it was for the vCen. Okay, in a production environment, um, I have three physical servers. I'm going to install. I'm going to install vCenter in one of those ESXi. It can be here, it can be here, or it can be on ESXi 03. But as we are using ESXi nested um, don't forget, all those they are virtual. Here it is a virtual appliance. Okay, all those infrastructure they reside on the physical servers. Okay, they reside on the physical servers that has IP 1.1.0.0. Let me show you. Um, okay, it is if I here, so it is my physical server. It is a Dell. It is a HP Poignant DL 380 generation 10 that has 30 core CPU, um, a 250 gig. So it is a beefy servers. So I used to do it. So so this environment it is here. Let's go back to the design. It is here that hosts all this infrastructure. But in the production, I use one of those ESXi servers to host the virtual center. But if you are using a nested virtualization, a nested lab, that means you have a physical host that has ESXi on it. Okay, and here you create those virtual machine. So it is better that you host that this environment hosts the virtual center. Why? Because it is better for the performance. So when you run the vCenter on the physical SXI hardware, so it will run faster. So this is better. That's why here we're going to use here we want the vCenter, we want the NSX, everything. But in your production environment, you will use one of these servers to run this. But here, as we are doing lab, the vCenter will host here under 100, 180. Don't forget here it is 250.10.101. It is for my lab. Here it is 102, and here it is 103 from the lab. But here it is another infrastructure. It is my physical infrastructure for that hosts here. So we're going to host the virtual center in my physical ESXi servers. I hope that it is clear for us. It is clear. If you don't understand it very well, you can write a comment, and I can provide additional details about it. So let's return. So we're going to provide my physical a server, and I provide the credential. Okay. So it's to host the virtual appliance, vCenter appliance. Okay. Now we say which name we are going to give the VM. Um, let's call it vCenter. A password. Okay. Provide the password for the appliance. So by default, it don't ask you for username. The username is root. So the password for the root password. Okay. Here, depending of your environment, you can say if you want a teeny deployment, a small, large, medium, etc. But I have, for example, I have less than 10 hosts, so we can go for a teeny, and the default storage. And you have to make sure that it's thin provisioning because it will take a lot of space. It will take like 600 gig, so it's better to thin provisioning. So here you can enable thin this mode, thin provisioning, so it won't take it won't consume all the storage that is allocated for the disk. Okay, next. Okay, now it asks you now it asks you for the um it asks you for the configuration. Listen, here my vCenter will run here. Let me remove this now so you can understand quickly. Uh, okay, my vCenter will run here. The VM will run. Let me remove this. Okay, my vCenter will run here, but this vCenter will provide a management for this infrastructure. But in which switch this infrastructure reside, it is on the lab switch, not on the VM network that is on this host. So enable for my vCenter to be able to talk with those to my whole management network, so I have to connect it to the lab switch. That's why I do it. I don't. That's why I don't choose VM network. I choose lab switch, and I going to provide an IP address that is on the management network. Okay, so the management network is connected to the lab switch. So I'm going to give my vCenter an IP address that is 100, that is on this subnet. Okay, so so I connect. I choose lab switch, and the FUDN you can give it the fully qualified domain name, Blue Ocean IT. IP address will be 10 in my in the management network, 100. The subnet mask will be 24. The default gateway will be 1. DNS server 10. Yeah, that's it. Next. Okay, I think everything is good, and finish. So the deployment will do it in multiple stage. The first stage will be to deploy the vCenter, the virtual appliance, the virtual machine itself. So you will provide a host to host um, to host the virtual appliance, and the second stage will be to configure the vCenter. So now we are deploying the VM. We can see it here if we connect to the virtual host. If you see it, you see that it's creating the VM. So it's deploying the it's deploying the virtual app, the virtual appliance. Okay. So the virtual appliance will be deployed on the physical host 112 here. So that's why we connect here, and we see that it is we see that it is deploying. I hope that is clear. Yeah, I take a quick coffee. A quick coffee. Um, I don't think I'm going to pause it. I don't want to pause it, but I don't want that the video is too long also. Um, okay, I'm going to pause it because there is nothing to do. It will take a, a couple of minutes. Be patient. It will be long, so I'm going to pause it when it's almost 100. I'm going to release it so we can see the the deployment of stage two. I don't know if I should pause it or yeah, I should wait. I see that it's um it's I think it's going normally, so let's wait. Let's wait. Okay, a quick coffee. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it, and I will turn when it is almost 100. I'm going to pause it. Uh, okay, let's pause it. Okay, we are almost done. Yes, it is done. It take one time. It take many time that I don't think it will take too much time. So it was better that I pause it. So I successfully deployed the vCenter. So it is the first stage. It was the deployment of the virtual appliance on a host, and the second stage we're going to configure it. So we say we do continue to go to the second stage. Okay. Okay, the second stage is let's go to the second stage next. Okay, are we going to for the time synchronization? What we're going to do? Maybe let's say for the SSI host, yes, we're going to activate SSH. Maybe if we want to do some troubleshooting, and next for the SSO single sign-on. Okay, by default. You can have an existing SSO domain. So I'm going to do that. If you have a previous installation of vCenter, but it is a brand new installation. By default, the we can use for the domain. You can use your own domain, but normally we use the default one that is vSphere.local, and we provide the password. And next. I never like this one. Um, Normally I always disable. Maybe because I'm using too much crack software, so I don't want that someone one time that VMware catch me. I'm using a lot a um I use code I never pay for VMware products, so that's why I always disable. So VMware cannot catch me. I don't know. Next. Okay, and finish for the second. So is this straightforward? So we're going to deploy it for the second stage. Okay, so for the first stage, we create we configure the single sign-on services. Yeah, that is the vSphere.local. So it is a first site. It is a new site that we create and we provide the password. And yes, that's it. And maybe I have to come with a video to show you theoretically the design of the vCenter or the PSO domain, the PSO single services, etc. All the modules that vCenter is using, but this will be for a another video that but here we're going straight for the full deployment stack of the vCenter, and maybe sometime I will come with some video that is focused on some aspect of the infrastructure of the installation. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video, and when it is closer than 100, so I will resume back. Thank you very much, and I will resume later. So I'm going to pause for so the video is not too long. Okay, I pause. Okay, so we are back. So the second stage finished. So the deployment of vCenter is pretty long. So I think it's more than 30 minutes. So it's very long. So please plan accordingly. So it's finished. So I can access it via the via the web. I can access the appliance. Okay. Um, so I will grab it. So it's HTTPS vCenter the name of the appliance, and the fully qualified domain name, so I can access. Okay. So you will use the name that you provide, the domain. So we use the vSphere.local. So and the password that we provide in the stage two. Um, what's happening? Administrator. Okay. Okay, so I connect to the vCenter appliance. So it is a brand new installation. Maybe I can close this. I didn't provide in license. This is a brand new installation. There is nothing on it. But I think I will come, as I said already. Maybe I will come from specific video for everything, but we will go through. We'll do an overview quickly and to continue for our lab. But in the vCenter, so it is here to manage all all the host, all the infrastructure, the virtual infrastructure. So here we can monitor. Here we can configure a licensing, configure things here to provide permissions, etc. Here we can see all the hosts that is attached, cluster that is attached to the vCenter. Here we can see all the VM, all the data store. There's nothing because we have attached nothing on it yet. But I think I will come with it, but we'll do the basic things. And maybe I will come with specific video for it. So when you finish to install, the first thing you have to do, you have to create a new data center. So if you go to the summary, I don't know if they provide a no, they didn't do that. Sometimes you can see what's next thing to do when you finish to do something, but I don't see here. But okay, but the next thing to do, you have to create a new data center after you create a cluster, etc. So we're going to create a new data center. I will call it Ocean Data Center. Okay, and now I can add hosts. You can create a cluster before and you can add hosts first. So let's ask the host. So we have three ESXi hosts. So we are going to add it to the vCenter so we can manage it from the vCenter. So I do add host. Okay, the name of the first host. I give the fully qualified domain name, username, password. Yes, you provide the SSL server certificate. Um, yeah, you can manage with an image, but the problem is we are using a nested lab. That means that there are many components that are not in the what they call it HCL, hardware compatibility list. So as many hardware, for example, the disk that we are using, the CPU, the storage subsystem, etc. But it is better that m- you don't manage the host because later you have issues when you go into to create a baseline to confirm that everything is compliance. So that's why sometimes for the lab, specifically for the lab, when you are not using a certified hardware, a, so I don't check it. Okay, the license we are using the license environment 60 day, that is okay for us. Lockdown mode, it's okay. Next, finish. So we're going to do this for the two remaining hosts. Um, SSI, let's see. Okay. Okay, so going quickly, and going to provide okay. Yeah, I think we're done. So we had the three SXi virtual servers, the nested servers, and so we are going to create a cluster. Okay, um, we're going to provide the name Blue Ocean Cluster. We are not going to enable a DRS. Okay, we can enable DRS. Not we are not going as we are going to use vCenter, and to enable vCenter, so we have to each A should be disabled. So each A should not be enabled before configuring vCenter. So I'm going to leave each A that is high availability, and vCenter we're going to leave it down because we're going to configure it later. Okay, um and we are not going to manage all the hosts with single image, as I told you before. Sometimes it provides some issues, some hardware compatibility issues, because we are not using a VMware certified hardware components. So it's better that we leave it disabled. But in a production environment, when all your hosts are certified, they are the same, so it's better to leave it check. Okay. So for the DRS, what is DRS? The main goal of DRS, distributed resource scheduler, the main goal of this is to ensure all virtual machines have the resources they require to run efficiently while keeping the cluster balance. That means that if I have three let's go back to the to our lab. Let me remove everything. Eh, okay. Let me remove everything. Okay. For example, if I have a VM, if I have a VM here, for example, if I have a VM here, if I have any VM, let's say four. Okay, here as two, and here as one. Okay, and what's happened? We see that the cluster is not balanced. So this host will use many CPU because he has more VM. This will use two VM, and this has one. So what the DRS do, the distributed resource scheduler, so it will make sure that all the resource, all your cluster is balanced. So that's mean sometimes what you can do, you can take this VM. So what you can do, you can take this VM and you put it here. So it make it balance. You can take you see those two SSI servers has more is using more compute than the third one. What is will go? So it will take the other one to make it balance, to make the cluster balance, and it will put it here. So it will make sure that your cluster is balanced. That means that you don't have a server that is heavily used, that is aided that it 18 that is using 80 CPU, and it, it won't let it like this. So 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 what is going to do? So if it sees that this server is using 80 CPU or RAM, here it is using 60, and here it is using 20. Okay, so what is going to do? So it's going to balance the cluster. So maybe it will take vMotion. So it will vMotion. So while the server is running, so it will put the server here so it can take more compute on this host. So that's the benefits of a DRS. And for the HA, the high availability, what the HA does, the high availability, so the purpose of high availability HA mod is to make sure that VM instances are up and running as much as possible. That means that a, sometimes you have some glitch, you have some issues on the on your infrastructure. That means that, for example, the disk on this server can be bad, and the network can fail, or there is no electricity on the third ESXi servers. So the whole of the high availability of each a mode is to ensure that all your VMs are running as much as possible. So the benefit of HA is the automatic activation of maintenance mode for failed host servers while keeping VM powered on via remaining hosts within cluster. For example, if I for example if I'm making, for example, if I'm making um let's do an example. For example, if I'm making a let's say that I have 4 servers here. Let's say 10. I have 10 servers, and I'm going to do a maintenance in this server. I want to upgrade the RAM, or I want to shut down to do a maintenance of the server. That means that I don't want that all the services of the VM that run in services here are not available to the customers. So what I can do, if I have a HA will do when I'm going to put this host on maintenance mode, so it won't be available in the in a it won't be available in infrastructure. So all the hosts that is running on the SSI will be migrated on another host. Maybe two will be here, and the two other one will be here. That's the benefit, that's the beauty of HA. For example, if automatically there is one host that is filled, for example, you go to a data center, you remove a disk. Let me do a joke, but it is very worth to do it. Whenever I go to a data center, I go to the admin where the server are, all the servers are. I say the admin, listen, can I remove one of these disks? Can I unplug this server? If the admin is very worried about doing that, there is a problem in this infrastructure because there is no high availability. If you go to a data center, you want to remove this cable. You want to remove this cable, the power cable. You should be able to do that. That's the beauty of a high availability. If a server fail automatically, all the all the service that were running on this server will be migrated on the remaining hosts. And with DPM, distributed power management, for example, um, in the weekend when there is no when the service resources are very low, there is no office, etc. What we can do, all the VM here, if I have 4 hosts, or let's say 5 hosts, all the VM that is here all those VM can be migrating on those hosts. Um, let's say let's say that all those VM can be migrated on the remaining hosts, and I can shut down those three servers. I can shut down those three servers. That's the beauty of the DPM, distributed power management. So I can save energy. I can, and on Monday, what's happened on Monday? On Monday, when people is coming at the office, and there is lot of uh, there is lot of demand of the services. What's happened? Those three servers can go live, can go up, and all this server, all these servers that was here during the weekend, eh ben, all those servers will go to their respecting, will be migrated to the all host, so they can have more resources, more compute. That's the beauty of the um, HA. So in your environment, you should have DRS, distributed resource scheduler, enabled. You should have HA enabled. You should have fault tolerant services enabled. You should have vCenter. It's the same thing for vCenter. vCenter, I have a bunch of disks. I have this here. I have this on this servers. I have this here. What it do? It create a single pool of storage and replicate data amount of this server. That means data that is on this disk will be replicated on this server. Data on this disk will be replicated on this server. That means that if I have a server that fail, I have no data loss in my environment. That's the beauty of the virtualization. Everything is I have redundancy for everything. I have load balancing for everything, and that's the beauty of this. So when you go into let's go back to our environment. I think it's worth to take time to explain you that. So I'm not going to explain the so I'm going to let's go next. Okay, I'm going to enable this later. Next, I create the cluster. Okay, my cluster is created, and I'm going to add those hosts in the cluster. So I drag it. Okay, I drag it. Okay, I drag it. Okay, so I have my cluster has three hosts. They are in the cluster. Okay, so before creating before going further, we have created the cluster. We have created a data center. We have created a cluster. We have added the host into the cluster. Now we are going to create the virtual distributed switch. So we can provide, for example, management services. We can provide vCenter services. We can create a VM kernel for fault tolerant management, vCenter, vMotion, etc. So we are going to do this. So eh, um, I'm going to stop the video, so it won't be long. So I'm going to create a new video. In the next video, we will create virtual distributed switch and go and go deeper in our lab. Okay, so we're going to stop. Don't forget, please like. Thank you very much. You will do. I will be very happy if you do it. It won't take long. 10 seconds. Subscribe. Um, like. So I will do many video on it. Not on for VMware. I will do other video to for other projects. FortiGate, Microsoft, Palo Alto. Cisco, many bunch of projects. Maybe for the VoIP, I can so many things. I will do many videos. So Please subscribe, please like, please do comment. So we will be, it will motivate us to continue. Thank you very much, and we go into another video to create the virtual distributed switch. Bye.